By what name are you known?
There are some who call me... Tim?
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are in Arnhem, the Netherlands for the Camel Trophy. Yes, we are back. And remember, this tournament is a gentleman's tournament. What does that mean? We are not going to see Mind Twist. We are not going to see Library of Alexandria because they are banned in gentleman's magic. So you don't have to worry about those two very powerful cards and maybe in some cases even boring cards. So they're not in the decks today. And today we're going to watch a first round match played in the Swiss between Rob. And Rob is playing with a very cool mono white deck. It's all about artifacts because he's playing with a full playset. I repeat, a full playset of Argivian Archeologists. I mean, this deck is so cool. And he's playing against Stijn. And Stijn is playing with an Underworld Dreams deck. Kind of a 4-color deck, almost good stuff. It's, well, you'll see it in the deck text where I give some more, explanation about this type of deck. Now, before we jump into the deck text though, first a quick message from our sponsor, 3for1 Trading. 3for1 Trading is one of Europe's leading Magic the Gathering retailers. Their online shop has a fantastic selection of high-end Magic cards, especially for vintage, legacy, and yes, old school Magic players. They now exclusively offer my community free, fully insured and fast worldwide shipping on all their high-end singles, full sets and out-of-print sealed products. They upload new cards every Wednesday and have weekly sale offers and reductions waiting just for you. Use my code TIMMY to get free worldwide shipping on your first order over $500 or euros. Have fun ordering those cards and thank you 3for1 Trading for sponsoring this video. And we are back and ready to dive into the deck text. I'm going to start with the player on the left, that is Rob. Let's take a look at this Argivian Archeologist deck. And here we see the deck of Rob. So this deck is built all around artifacts, right? And I guess, Rob, you started with a playset of Argivian Archeologists. And guess what? I also have a playset of Argivian Archeologists. And, you know, always this little voice in my head that goes, play with them, use them, go to a tournament where they can shine. And I really appreciate, Rob, that you did just that you brought this pile of cards to a tournament. And this is the Archeologist's moment to shine. I really hope in this match that you can get the Archeologist on the table. Maybe you're wondering, what does it do? Well, it's a 1/1 creature from Antiquities, 2 white and 1 to cast, 2 white and tap to bring 1 artifact from your graveyard to your hand. So of course, this card works really well in an artifact heavy strategy. If the game goes your way, you're probably going to use it to get back the Chaos Orb and just keep flipping your orb. But if not, there are a lot of other interesting targets that you can get back. For example, the rocket launcher. Also, the Bottle of Suleiman could be good if the flip doesn't work your way. You can get it back. And I really like it in combination with Ornithopter. Ornithopter, an 0/2 flyer for 0 mana to cast. So if you get that back from the graveyard, you can play it out immediately. And the cool thing, of course, is with Ornithopter and the Archeologist and just the whole deck, it all works together really well with Angelic Voices. Angelic Voices is an enchantment from Legends. 2 white and 2 to cast. That reads, creatures you control get +1/+1 as long as you control no non-artifacts or non-white creatures. And guess what? He's not controlling any non-white, non-artifact creatures in the deck, so he doesn't have to worry. Now, there's another really cool thing happening in this deck, and that is a thing that he's worked around, I should say, Ashnod's Transmogrant. So Ashnod's Transmogrant is an artifact for 1, and then you can pay nothing, actually. You can tap and sacrifice the artifact to put a +1/+1 counter on target non-artifact creature, and that creature becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. And why is this a good thing? Because most of the creatures in Rob's deck are artifacts already. So yes, he can use it to pump the Archeologist, which could be relevant if you're, for example, facing a Timmy. You could pump the toughness that way of the Archeologist. But it's even better because he's using it to turn the creatures of his opponent into artifact creatures and then use his Circle of Protection artifacts to prevent the damage that he gets from those creatures, right? So he can then use COP Artifact to make sure he doesn't get any damage. And also, as soon as they become artifacts, you can target them with Disenchant and Divine Offering. So a very, very clever plan, Rob. And again, I have to say, I'm going to be honest with you. I think you know this as well. The deck is not looking very strong, but the deck is looking awesome. And maybe that's even more important. I also love the inclusion of Blessing. When do you see Blessing? But look at Blessing. Look at the art. It's beautiful. If you can pull a Blessing off on the Ornithopter and kill your opponent with that, I mean, that would be really, really icing on the cake. I also love the inclusion, by the way, of the 3 modes. I think it's quite good. You really play pretty defensive, right? You want to get that Archeologist engine going. And because you're playing with 4 Archeologists, yes, he's probably going to be able to kill the first 2, but hopefully the third one will stick to the board and you can really get value out of the Archeologist. That would be kind of my dream for this matchup. But fair warning, the deck of your opponent, the deck that Stijn is playing, he's your opponent today, it's looking very, very good. It's looking very tier 1-ish, to be honest. Talking about that, let's take a look at the deck of Stijn. And here we see the deck of Stijn. So this deck is really a combination of several strategies, right? The first thing, of course, that really pops out are those 4 Underworld Dreams there. Underworld Dreams, an enchantment from Legends for 3 white that reads, whenever your opponent draws a card, he or she takes a damage. So this card, of course, works really well with the draw 7 cards, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Time Twister. I don't believe we see a Time Twister in this deck, by the way. So in this case, it's just the wheel. Also, a nice little effect, you can turn your Brain Geyser into a Fireball if you have the Underworld Dreams on the table. Think about it, right? You can force your opponent to draw cards, and for each card that he or she draws, he or she takes a damage. So, I call that the blue Fireball, where you use your Brain Geyser with Underworld Dreams to deal damage that way and maybe win the game. I don't think it's going to happen often, but when it does, it's always pretty spectacular. Now, the other part of the deck kind of reminds me of Troll Disco because I'm seeing 4 Sedge Trolls in the deck, but we don't actually see any Nevinyrral's Discs in the deck. And of course, Sedge Troll is quite good if you're already into red and into black. Then Sedge Troll is basically a 3/3 for 3 that you can regenerate. So it's just very, very powerful. And then we see Hypnotic Specters, of course, so we see that little discard theme as well. We also see some land destruction, right? 4 Sinkholes. And I understand that. I think in a format like Swedish, it's usually a good idea, even in a Gentleman's format that we're playing today, where you're not going to see any Library of Alexandrias because they're banned in Gentleman's Magic. Even then, I think it's good to play with at least 4, land destruction spells, because there are so many powerful special lands. There's so many greedy mana bases. So playing with extra land destruction is usually a good thing. Talking about greedy mana bases, the mana base here of Stijn is a little bit greedy. If he runs into a Blood Moon, which probably will happen this tournament, it's going to be more tricky for him. But in this matchup, he doesn't have to worry about that. I think overall, this deck is just looking very, very strong. And he's definitely the favorite in the matchup against Rob. But again, I mean, nothing against you, Stijn, but I really hope that Rob is going to kick your ass because I love the Archeologist. And yes, I'm very biased. Anyway, this is the deck of Stijn. We looked at the deck of Rob. So that means we are ready to go to round number 1 of the Camel Trophy number 7. Let's go. Game number 1 here is about to start of round number 1. Rob sitting on the left, he's playing mono white artifacts, playing with a full playset of Argivian Archeologist. Really looking forward to see his deck in action. He's taking on Stijn, and Stijn's playing a 4-colored Underworld Dreams deck. Looking mighty fierce. So Rob starting here with a Mox and a basic Plains, passing the turn to Stijn. And he took a mulligan, as we could see, so started with 6 in hand. No, now 4 left, I guess, after that opening. There's a Mishra's Factory by Stijn and a pass. Now, Rob does have 2 Divine Offerings and a Disenchant in his deck. Also plays with 3 modes. He's going to tap 3 here, 2 white and 1. Are we going to see an Archeologist? There's the Archeologist. Nothing in the graveyard, though, to pick up here for Rob, but the Archeologist is a 1/1 creature from Antiquities. You can pay 2 white and tap the Archeologist to bring back an artifact from the graveyard. And passing the turn here back to Stijn. And just by casting this creature, you're already giving your opponent a lot of information. There we see a Badlands. And he's going to animate attacking here with the 2/2, 2 points of damage for Rob, dropping to 18. And there's the pass. Untap, upkeep, and a draw here for Rob. Let's see what he can do. Or we're going to see an artifact playing with 4 Ornithopters. And of course, they're free to cast. Also playing with a full playset of Tetravusses. But look at this, playing a Bottle of Suleiman. That is pretty sweet. 4 mana to play this artifact. You can pay 1 and then flip a coin. If you win the flip, you get a 5/5 Djinn token. If you lose the flip, you take 5 damage. There's the attack for 1 with the Archeologist. Stijn gonna take a damage here, dropping to 19. Yeah, it's just super cool to see this card here in action. And I guess Stijn is asking what the exact text is on the bottle. I would always advise to kind of go on the Gatherer and check the current Oracle text. because we are playing according to the modern rules, although I think it doesn't really matter in this case. And Rob here kind of reading it out to Stijn. And I guess if you're Stijn, I mean, you now have an option to play a shatter, you know, before Rob can flip. But of course, the Archeologist can also get back the bottle. So I think this flip is going to be pretty decisive if Stijn allows Rob to flip. That is the big question. And Stijn, of course, just played out the dual land. The scrub land, to be precise. So as a scrub land, a Badlands, and a Mishra's Factory. And I guess Rob is still kind of explaining the card here. It's a card you don't see often, but it's a very cool card though. So it's great to see people play with it. And here we see an Hypnotic Spectre, 2/2 flyer. And of course the problem with the Spectre is as soon as it damages the opponent has to discard a card at random. So you really want to have an answer to this hippie. So perhaps Rob is going to flip here. And if the flip works... Yeah, he's going to flip! Oh, this is so cool. I so hope the flip's gonna work. Does he have a coin? Is he gonna use a dice? He's gonna use a dice. And he's gonna let, I guess, Stijn pick odds or even. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Oh, it's not even on the camera, but I do see Rob kind of cheering. So yeah, he is getting the 5/5 Djinn. That's pretty awesome. And also the bottle, of course, goes to the graveyard. Passing the turn here back to Stijn. So Stijn now has to face a 5/5 flying creature. There we see an Underground Sea. And again, Rob now reading the card. Now remember, the fact that it's a token can be relevant because you cannot flip your Chaos Orb on a token. The problem, of course, is that it's not just a creature, it's also an artifact creature, I believe. Meaning that you can also disenchant it. And Rob here again, taking a moment to read out the card here. Yes, it is going to go to the graveyard. It's not removed from the game. That means that Rob can actually get it back. So it has that 5/5 flyer now. Uh-oh. Ah, there's a disenchant. No! I don't want this to happen. And this is an interesting thing, right? Because now he's going to attack. In response, Rob could use his Archeologist exactly to get the bottle back. And maybe the bottle will get discarded. And then he can get it back again with the Archeologist. So that would be pretty cool. But let's first see what's going to happen here. So 2 damage and then losing a card. He's going to lose the bottle. Hey, there we go. I mean, maybe he's not even happy with that, you know, because he doesn't have enough mana to get it back and play it out the same turn. At least not now. Oh, and there's a lightning bolt. Yeah, so Stijn, after seeing the mighty power of the Archeologist, decides to get rid of it with the bolt. And this is, of course, a problem with all these, you know, kind of good stuff decks. They're so optimized, you know, like a opponent like Stijn is playing Disenchant and lightning bolts. You know, probably has some swords as well. There are just so many answers in these modern old school decks, as I like to call them. And that can be problematic if you're playing a more fun deck like Rob is playing at the moment. Yeah, so Rob has that Archeologist now in the graveyard. 2 cards left in hand, though, after playing out the Ashnod's Transmogrant. So this is an artifact from Antiquities. You can sack it to turn target creature into an artifact creature and give it +1/+1. And it's pretty cool. And if you haven't read The Brothers' War yet, I would really advise you to read it. There's a lot of lore. And then you know who Ashnod is. She's a pretty cruel woman, I can tell you that. There's the attack with the hippie Hypnotic Spectre going in. Look at that. He's actually going to turn it into a 3/3. Is he then? Oh, and then he's going to disenchant. I love this. Oh, yes, it's a 2-for-1. But how cool is... How often do you see this? Like never. This is super cool. Another hippie, though. That is unfortunate. Yeah, these hippies are so strong, and Rob really needs to find an answer every single time. So he's already got rid of 1 hippie. Oh, no, look at the hand. 2 Tetravuses in the hand. There are 6 to cast. Yeah. That is pretty problematic here for Rob. That means he's in serious trouble. Going to lose one of the cards in hand here. There's a factory, and now he can attack for 4. Actually going to put him on 12. And now Rob here is going to lose one of his cards. Yeah, going to lose the Tetravus. Hopefully he can find a mana from the top of his library. There we see a time walk though. Ah, this is dirty. Yeah, this is dirty. Gonna take another hit of 4. Gonna lose that last card in hand. Now remember, we are playing according to the Swiss, tournament setup here. So that means this is a first round match, right? So you're gonna play with your flavor deck against, Stijn, who has a very strong deck. You're gonna lose, but after it, you're gonna play against a deck that has also lost the first round. So eventually, during the tournament, you'll end up getting paired up with another cool deck, as I like to call it, another Timmy deck. There's the attack for 4. Gonna drop down here to 8. Gonna lose that last card in hand. Another Tetravus going into the bin here. And I guess balance is the card that you really want to have, right? That's a card that can save you here. There's a set scroll. So balance from the top would be quite good for Rob. And now he finds that land. That is so cruel. Oh, and Rob picking up the cards. It's like, whatever. That is so cruel, man. I feel like if you're playing like these cool, flavorful decks, you do need to have luck on your side. And luck definitely wasn't on the side of Rob here in this first game. But it's just the first game. So both players are going to dive into their sideboards. And we will catch back up with them in game number 2. Game number 2 here is about to start with, of course, Rob on the play after losing the first game. Let's see what his deck can do. Go, Rob! Ooh, I see an Ornithopter in hand. That's exciting. Let's see, are we going to see Ornithopter turn 1? No, we don't. Plains and a pass. There we see a Scrubland. Another draw. There we see a second Plains. Or are we going to see the Ornithopter? I believe I also saw a Blessing, so it could go for Blessing on Ornithopter, which is very risky, because if Stijn has removal, it's not great. But if he doesn't, it could be legendary. So let's hope, that he can do Ornithopter, Blessing, and Stijn that you don't have Disenchant or Swords. That would be awesome. Or, of course, a Bolt. There are a lot of cards that Stijn can have to kind of ruin Rob's dreams, but let's first see if he's going to do it. So there we see a Black Lotus. There we see an Ornithopter. He's going to tap 2, and there's the Blessing. And I'm liking this play, because if Stijn now has Mountain Bolt, he can sack the Lotus to pump the Ornithopter and saving the Ornithopter. If he doesn't, then Rob can attack for lots of damage. So I'm really hoping here that Stijn doesn't have an answer to this Ornithopter with a Blessing. I mean, how often do you see this at a Magic tournament? An Ornithopter with a Blessing enchanted on it. It's just absolutely gorgeous to see. Here we see a Badlands by Stijn. Is he also going to be the bad guy? That's a question. And I mean, you can't blame Stijn, by the way, for playing a good deck. I mean, I understand. Yeah, he's going to Bolt. Now he's going to sack the Lotus. Oh, I love this. So now it's a 3-5, right? Oh, this is so funny. He's going to save the Ornithopter. So well played here by Rob. There's the attack. Is he going to pump it? Yeah, he's doing it. I think, Rob, you've already won this game in my book. The whole match in my book, actually. But pulling this off is just epic. Unfortunately, he is missing a land drop, though. So that is not great. Here we see an Underground Sea being played out by Stijn. Are we going to see, for example, a Hypnotic Spectre? It's going to tap 2 first. And there's a Sinkhole. Yeah, that's unfortunate. When you're already low on land, sinkholing the second Plains of Rob. Let's hope he can find something from the top. Okay, there's a Strip Mine. There's the attack. Gonna deal 1 more damage. Could strip the Badlands here. Also to protect the Ornithopter from a potential Lightning Bolt. Decides not to do it. There we see another Badlands. And you just know that Ornithopter isn't going to be around forever. So I'm just waiting for the moment that Stijn fires off a Bolt or a Disenchant or a Divine Offering. There we go. That's the thing, with these enchantments. It's like a 2-for-1. I do know that Rob also has an Archeologist in hand, so if you can find the planes from the top, play out Archeologist, that will be quite nice. Okay, at least it's more mana. It's the Mox Ruby passing the turn. Really needs to get into that double white territory. Stijn finding another scrubland. It's going to tap 3, it seems. Are we going to see Hypnotic Spectre? Nope, an Underworld Dreams instead. I mean, could have been worse here. I think Hypnotic Spectre would be a lot worse here for Rob. So just going to take a damage there from the Underworld Dreams. Now remember, Stijn is playing 4 Underworld Dreams in total in his deck. And he's playing a Wheel of Fortune as well. Not a Time Twister, I believe. And Rob just passing the turn. Oh, that's unfortunate. Like I said in game 1, the type of deck that Rob is playing requires luck. You need luck. Or at least not bad luck. And at the moment, Rob is having bad luck. There's a second Underworld Dreams hitting the table. Another land and a pass. He's going to take 2 more damage. Drop to 17. Let it be a land. Yes, it's plains. I believe he can now play out his Archeologist. Going to tap 3. There we see Argivian Archeologist. So then he can get back the Ornithopter, but also he can get back the, more important, the Black Lotus. So let's hope that the Archeologist can survive another turn here. That's, of course, the big problem with the Archeologist. It's a 1-1. It's very fragile. Easy to kill. Usually killed on sight. And Stijn has actually many ways in his deck to kill it. Lightning Bolt being probably the most efficient one. Maybe you could say Swords could be better, because then the Archeologist is removed from the game. 2 more damage here for Rob, by the way, dropping to 15. Now he's finding Landos. That's pretty good. If he can go up to 6, he can start casting the Tetravus. Not sure if it's in his hand, but he is playing a full playset of those. 7 lands there for Stijn. 2 cards in hand, passing the turn. More damage here for Rob. Dropping to 13. Oh, now he's got 6. Are we going to see a Tetravus? There's a Tetravus. 4/4 flying creature from Antiquities. This is great. This is awesome. Let's hope it stays alive. No Divine Offering, no Disenchant, I hope. Ancestral Recall. Oh! Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm keeping my fingers crossed here under the table. I'm really hoping for this Tetravus to stick. I'm very doubtful. It probably doesn't, but I hope it does. Oh, it looks like he's going to do Disenchant here. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, Sinkhole. Good. Sinkhole. Sinkhole's fine. Not ideal, but it's fine. We can take a Sinkhole. If it survives, I would definitely take the Tetravite, the counters off to make Tetravite tokens. Stijn is now kind of asking about the Tetravus. That's not a good sign. Leave it alone, Stijn. Leave it alone. Is he going to pass here? That's the big question, or not. Yep, he's going to pass. Look at that. So Rob taking the counters off. So now he's got 4 1/1 flyers. That makes perfect sense. The flyers do have Summoning Sickness, though, so he can only attack for 1. He's going to take damage again, of course, from the Underworld Dreams. Drop to 11. He's going to tap something. What is he going to do for 4? Oh, a moat! That is pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. Attacking for 1. Stijn on 16. The problem now, of course, for Rob is that double Underworld Dreams, right? Because that's really going to add up. He's already on 11. You know, if he can find Angelic Voices, he can attack for 8 next turn. That would be pretty fantastic. And Stijn actually not drawing that great here in this second game. So that gives kind of chances for Rob. He's going to tap 3 here. Are we going to see, yep, Hypnotic Spectre hitting the board. So what he could do with Tetravus, in your upkeep, you can also put counters back up on the Tetravus. So for example, he could make it into a 4/4 again. Or a 3/3 for that matter, and then attack or keep it as a blocker. I would be tempted to just attack, because you're slowly going to die to the Underworld Dreams if you don't play offensively. And Stijn a little bit in the tank here, thinking about what is he going to do. Going to tap 5. What are we going to see for 5? Oh, drain life. Is he just going to drain? He's going to drain for 3. Yeah, he's just going to drain. That is not great. It's going to take 2 more damage, drop to 6. And of course, Stijn also going up because of the drain life. He's back up to 19. Okay, there we see land number 6. Maybe he's got another Tetravus. Going to tap 6. Another Tetravus. Yeah, and I think I would have put some of the counters back on the Tetravus so that you can now attack. I think that would have been better, to be honest. You know, make it a 3-3, keep a 1-1 flyer at bay to potentially block the hippie and then just attack with your 3-3. I think that would have been my line. And I mean, he's on 6, so he's only got 3 more turns. Stijn being on 19. Oh, there's a Wheel of Fortune. End of the road, I think. Yeah, Rob has stepped out as well. That is unfortunate. It is what it is. I mean, you kind of could see this coming when you saw the 2 decks, but I still wanted to show you Rob's deck because the deck is just so beautiful. And, you know, he got to do some cool stuff. I think that Ornithopter with Blessing on it, that was absolutely epic. Showing the Angelic Voices here all the way on the bottom, but that, of course, was his plan. Army of Allah there as well to just attack and swing in. So unfortunately, Rob, you didn't make it. And Stijn, of course, congratulations with winning again. I'm not blaming you for playing a good deck at the tournament, but of course I was rooting for Rob. Rob, I think it's so cool you brought this deck to the table. Let me know in the comments below if you managed to get some wins in, if you managed to do some cool stuff with the Ornithopter. And also, I really enjoyed the Bottle of Suleiman flip in the first game where he actually got it back as well and almost was able to recast it. That would have been so epic. But I mean, it's tough, you know, playing against decks like Stijn is playing with. You know, they're fully powered, they have all the answers. It's just really tough. You know, it's like playing an uphill battle, right? Fighting in an uphill battle, I should say. Anyway, this was the first match, but next week I will be back. Or actually next episode, I will be back with more Magic from the Camel Trophy. A second round match where actually you can see me in action. I'm playing with my Eureka deck against a Line Dip Bolt deck. And I can already tell you that was a very, very close game. So you don't want to miss that. Talking about that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, so you don't miss a thing, right? And you can follow all the things that I do here on the channel. And you can also, of course, support the show. The easiest way to do this is by leaving a like, a comment, and share it on your socials. All these things are free, and YouTube really loves that stuff. Another thing that you can do is become a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks to find out how you can support the show. For now, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. Early in the morning, put him in the longboat until he's sober, put him in the longboat until he's sober, put him in the longboat until he's sober. Early in the morning, way hey and up she rises, way hey and up she rises. She rises early in the morning. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Pull out the plug and wet him all over. Early in the morning. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises. Way hey up she rises early in the morning. What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Put him in the scows to the host my son. Put him in the scows to the host my son. Put him in the scows to the host my son. Early in the morning, way hey up, she rises, way hey up, she rises, way hey up, she rises early in the morning.
Icketus, ficketus, somber, kazee.